let's go ahead and dive into our off-season mailbag 8.0. This is edition 8.0, brought to you by our Discord channel. If you are not a member of the Discord channel, find the link below in the description to the YouTube video and to the link of the podcast. This first question is from Nixa Rick. This is a very relevant question, and I think we were probably going to talk about this anyway, regardless if we got a question about it or not. But Rick says, does Kyle Long stay on the team, or do they release him to create space, or does he go on the IR? If you don't know, Kyle Long got hurt. There was a lot of buzz of Kyle Long. Actually, Jordan and I, we recorded a podcast just the other day talking about how Kyle Long's generated a lot of buzz and was in the contention for the starting right guard spot. And so now the question is, well, what do they do with him long term? It was a knee injury. Andy Reid said it doesn't look like it's ligaments, but he did also say that he might need surgery. They're not 100% sure yet, just because it was pretty recent. But starting off here, I think I'll start off with this one because I want to talk about Kyle Long because I think he's a phenomenal football player when healthy. I think the biggest knock about Kyle Long has been his health, right? We talk about how he was a Pro Bowl caliber player at right tackle, and I believe he was a Pro Bowler at right guard as well with the Chicago Bears. But injuries really slowed him down. He said that the year of retirement was good for his body. He even made a tweet saying he was pretty disappointed about just getting injured. You know, guys get injured like that. Guys get injured. They're human beings. It happens all the time. I don't think that they'll release him. I don't see that happening. He signed a 1 year, $1.5 million deal this offseason. By far not starter money, but it's not chump change at all. So they're not going to be hurt if he has to stay on the IR and then he comes back as a depth piece. That probably is, I would say, the best case scenario right now because the season is longer. It's now 17 games. Having this extra depth probably on the roster when he does come back, like I said, they're hopeful that he is going to return for the start of the season. Worst case scenario, he has to get surgery, he rehabs a little bit, but I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he's going to get cut because of his injury or anything like that. I think that there are less talented people on the roster that are on the chopping block, and I think I saw Matt Derrick tweet out that that Charvarius Ward signed his tender, but they still only have 89 men on their 90-man roster. So they still do have some roster spots open as of now. That'll be interesting to see how that all shifts out. But I do think that he'll probably go on the IR if he does end up getting surgery, or if he might not even need to go on the IR because he might be healthy come the regular season. But now I wouldn't anticipate him to take that starting role, kind of like I did prior to his injury. I kind of did think, okay, Kyle Long's going to come in here. He's going to play that right guard. It'll probably be like Long and Rimmers probably was my safe bet there. Maybe then if I wanted to get more adventurous, I'd go Long and Niang at right tackle. So I think that kind of shifts a little bit. It looks like it's going to be, well, barring anything from Trey Smith, barring any strong push, which we've heard a lot of good buzz about Trey Smith. I'm not saying that this won't happen. It's probably a two-horse race, though, when you start to look at it between LDT, between Andrew Wiley. But I do think Trey Smith can make a push for that conversation. And it's a good thing that LDT is coming back. They did report he hasn't been at OTAs, but it is reported that he will be back this next week for OTAs. So I know I just talked a whole lot, and I probably covered a lot of stuff you guys were going to talk about. But I needed to talk about it first because I wanted to be first. Jordan, what are your thoughts on this whole Kyle Long thing?
Do you guys hear that in the background? It's Trey Smith's music, I think. It's playing. I can faintly hear it. Listen, like in regards to Kyle Long, it sucks. And I say that a lot because it just is what it is. Like Matt LaFleur said it best. It is what it is. He's a guy that has had injury issues in the past. He's a guy that will possibly have injury issues in the future if he keeps playing past this season. But that doesn't mean that his season's over. It doesn't mean the Chiefs need to cut him. It doesn't mean he's going to get traded. It doesn't mean he even has to go on IR or the PUP list or anything crazy like that. It just means that we're going to wait and see, and it is what it is. Like that's all the Chiefs can do is see what his timeline's going to be if he misses all of training camp in the preseason like is being reported on whatever day this is, Thursday afternoon/evening. Then maybe he goes on IR to start the season with the new rules that allow more players to come off and stuff like that. It's not like Madden where you have to put a player on IR and he's done, and you can only bring one off halfway through the season or anything like that. So It's possible. I think that he definitely stays on the team, and potentially the only silver lining in this is that maybe Trey Smith does somehow end up with that job. And I'm going to have an article, hopefully by the time people are listening to this, if not shortly thereafter, talking about the rookie offensive linemen and how they could compete. So, sucks for Kyle Long, who I was really excited to see. And I think that he needed this kind of next couple months to get back into it and run away with that job. Now it's pretty much anyone's race, but maybe it does help LDT too, because me and Tucker talked the other day. We didn't know where he fit in. Like, we weren't even sure he was going to remain on the team, so maybe that saves his job as well.
Yeah, and I think LDT, isn't he stuck in Canada because they weren't allowing people across the border because of COVID? Yeah. I think it wasn't that he didn't want to be there. It's just that there was
he just
COVID things involved. So that's at least nice to know, because sometimes with guys like that where they bring in multiple people at their job, they just want to sit out and get traded. For him, it's just he couldn't be there. Interesting thing about Kyle Long is he's actually making less than Andrew Wiley. So he's making $1.5 million. Andrew Wiley on his second round it's the original round tender is $2.133 million. So I don't know why they would cut Kyle Long, who I think they obviously believe is better than Andrew Wiley. If he might be back at the start of the season. Like, he has more, I would say he's more talented than Andrew Wiley. I think that's a given. It's just that the year off, they didn't know where he would be at. So I think that they'll keep Kyle Long. They're not going to release him. They might put him on the PUP or something. I'm not 100% sure how the preseason injury reports function per se, so they might just put him on the PUP, the preseason PUP, or whatever it is, depending on how long it'll take him to recover. But I expect him to be on the roster, be depth at least. And honestly, I think Trey Smith's gonna win this job. I just like, have you guys seen Andy Heck talk about Trey Smith? I've seen this point out a few times. This man is so excited for Trey Smith, in the way that he's not been for any other offensive lineman. And it's obvious that they really like him. It's just that if they have a plan for his blood clots and managing that health situation. They said they had a good one when they drafted him. But it's about if that plan is functioning, if it's realizing, and if it can allow him to play this year. Because if it does, I think you're looking at rookie at center right guard.
Yeah, I think it's very possible. You could also be looking at rookie at center, right guard, and right tackle.
That one I think is less likely, but yes, it could be.
Yeah. It's still probably a viable scenario. I know a lot of people, their favorite hobby as of now is dumping on Lucas Niang. For some reason, I can't figure out why. But we're now at the point of the offseason where we're scouring the Chiefs' website, looking at their images and saying, okay, how does this guy look? What are their offensive line configurations? What are they doing on this? What are they doing on that? And it's just kind of like a weird time to be in. But, yeah, I think that they're still trying to work out the kinks, right? There's still a lot of combinations they can go with on this offensive line and a lot of good options. Like, from where we were a year ago to where we are now is kind of an interesting look at how this offensive line has really grown, really developed. We talk about a talent infusion all the time. And this position is like a textbook talent infusion, because we're going to see some guys' names that probably won't make the roster that we were pretty used to seeing being in the starting lineup last year. So I think that's kind of a good sign to see. I think it's a step in the right direction. Even if the depth is all good, because even with the Long injury, the Chiefs aren't shot in the foot, right? The Long injury didn't shoot the Chiefs in the foot. They still have a starter from last season in Andrew Wiley. Now, we can argue about how good he was as a starter. He was still a starter last season. And they also have a starter from, I believe he started in, 56 of his 60 career regular season games in LDT. So a guy who's got some experience. Same thing, they've got all kinds of guys. And you mentioned Trey Smith. Trey Smith is one of my favorite picks. Actually, I think I said he was my favorite pick of this whole draft. Just his talent level. I do think that he is the right guard of the future. Whether or not they want to make the future now or not is going to be a big question. See how he develops all the way through training camp. I almost said spring training, but summer training, and see how he develops there. That will do it for today's podcast preview. If you enjoyed the preview, make sure to check out the full show out on your favorite podcast provider. Don't know how to find it? Go to smarturl.it/roughing. Got a splash page. You can find your favorite provider there and find the show there, or go into the search bar of your favorite show, type in Roughing the Kicker. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. It really helps us out. If you enjoy the channel and the podcast as a whole, subscribe and obviously get that notification bell on because you don't want to miss any more podcast previews. We'll be back with another video soon. So until then, I'll talk to you next time.